Shreveport City Councilman James Flurry is here. Hey, Mr. James, welcome back to KEEL. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
So you've got a meeting. This is talking about the proposed garbage fee. You've got a meeting, a get-together of constituents tonight. Where? What do you expect to hear?
Well, it's a town hall meeting talking about the clean city user fee, and meeting at Sheriff Safety Town, 8910 Jewella, at 6:30 tonight, and give the citizens a chance across Shreveport to come ask questions. And we're so far, I'll be there, and representative from the mayor's office has agreed to be there.
Which representative from the mayor's office, by the way?
Right now, it's Ben Riggs has agreed to be there.
What questions do you expect to get tonight? The point I made, where I'm headed with this is, you've got to have heard lots of stuff from your folks already. What are you hearing, and what do you expect to get tonight?
Oh, yes, I've already heard. My phone has lit up real good. I've had roughly about 299 folks that told me that they don't want a fee, or if they want one, they want it to be where it's affordable and that fits their budget at home. And then one couple told me to do it, and so they wanted to have a garbage fee. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. That they, but I hope tonight to be able to explain how we got here to this point, and why we need to look at seriously seeing redoing some things. With the garbage sanitation fund.
It's so, like, pardon me, Mr. James, it's like you and all the other council people at this point, you've had a look at the books. You know the situation, and the phrase you just used. We've got to do some things. What does that mean, and how do you explain that to people?
Well, let me tell you. I drove yesterday down Aaron McCarty's Drive, which is Terry Bradshaw Parkway, and I see all the trash on the road that she complained about, and it's right back like it was. It hasn't changed. And so we've got to do something. I don't know whether it's what I call the sin taxes, litter, adding to Cokes, chicken boxes. We're going to have to do something to try to get this trash picked up. We get out and pick it up once a month. We got a big day tomorrow planned, and it'll be right back to next week. And I hear different ones say that, the budget's pretty tight. Well, no, wait a minute. We've got a city jail that I have mentioned last 4 years ago. I mentioned it, that we need to consider getting out of the city jail business. We need to negotiate with the sheriff, which is willing to negotiate, and hand those prisoners over to him, and then let the parish have our city jail to put juveniles in, because they need the space. And so we need to do some things creatively. But people say, well, the budget's pretty tight, But no, we've got too many parks. We've got 4 cemeteries that we operate, that we have no business being in the cemetery business. We need to consider charging for bulk pickup on the streets, because people will just throw it out there, and we have to jump through the hoops to get it all up right.
Mr.
So we
Flurry?
need to make people to do a better job on putting out their bulk stuff.
Mr. Flurry, a couple of council members have told me this morning, over the last 24 hours, they expect a delay Tuesday. Are you in favor of delaying this and studying it a little more?
No, I'm for voting it up or down, and let's start over. I don't believe it'll pay us $18 a pass, and we need to vote it up or down.
Will you support $5? Would you vote yes on a $5 fee?
If it has an enterprise fund in it, and if we have some type of bulk pickup.
What do you think, based on your constituents' responses to your conversations with them, what do you think in your mind would be, in their minds, a fair amount? Somewhere between 5 and 8. How high do you think your constituents would be willing to go?
I don't think we want to go no more than $7.50. I would be willing to start out and do it in stair steps over the next 4 years. Put it in the budget, and we could negotiate it. But I wouldn't mind starting out. I'm somewhere between $500 and $750 a month. If we do away with the recycling, that $250, they've already been paying that. But it's going to be a small number right now because we can't expect to get overnight to where the mayor wants. There's just no way. And we're paying every one of our bonds. Those bonds are paid by property taxes. We've paid some off and going to pay some more off. So they say that we have a crisis on reserves. I don't believe it. I just refuse to believe that we have a crisis.
Let me now, on that very subject, Mr. Flurry, you got your big boy britches on this morning, correct?
Right.
The word raided has been used, that the council in the last couple of months of last year raided the reserve fund and bought things like a street sweeper and other things like that that we didn't need to do with reserves so low. How do you respond to that?
Well, we put it into the budget of $250,000 for a street sweeper because we had already sold one of the ones that the Mayor Glover had bought. We turned around and sold it. So we were down to one. So we had money there that we could go back. But what we were trying to say, look, buy a street sweeper. For God's sake, buy it with a vacuum, not a conveyor belt.
But if people say that you guys, the last council, raided the reserve fund, you take offense to that?
No, I sure don't. Sure don't.
Do you think it's accurate at all?
No, it's not, because we don't have a reserve problem. If you look at the terminology, and you'll hear that tonight, there's going to be a gentleman there to talk to you, a citizen who has researched. The reserve fund is called balance on hand. And what you have left over at the end of the year, these reserve funds fund all these different operations. But what you have at the end of the year is a terminology called balance on hand. And that's reserve. So we never really have a certain, you go back and look and see where it says reserves on the books. It's called balance on hand. Mm-hmm. And we've got all these, we paid, if they talk about, we paid every bond backed by this property tax. And there's just no way that's going to, you may get an A, go down from A plus to A minus, but what's the difference from an A plus rating from an A minus rating? So we're creating a crisis that is not there.
Just to review, Mr. James, your meeting is tonight at Safety Town. And what time was that again?
6:30.
And you will be there talking to constituents, questions, etc., comments, and Ben Riggs from the mayor's office there also, right, sir?
That's correct.
Appreciate your time as always, Mr. James Flurry. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you kindly.